Okay, so we're starting Chazaras on Hey Gimel.
Okay, I'm gonna bit first. Okay. And with what may we not go out? A camel may not go out with a patch on its tail, nor with its forelegs and hind legs chained together, nor with its foreleg bent back to the shoulder. And so it is with all other animals. One may not tie camels one to another and lead them, but he may gather ropes in his hand and lead them, provided he does not wind the ropes around one another. A donkey may go may, A donkey may not go out with a saddle cloth when it is not tied to it, nor with a belt even if it is plugged, nor with a ladder on its neck, nor with a strap on its leg. And chickens may not go out with cords, nor with straps on their legs. Rams may not go out with a wagonette under their fat tail, and ewes may not go out with henna chips in their nose. A calf may not go out with a little yoke, nor a cow with a hedgehog skin, nor with a strap between its horns. Reb Elazar ben Azariah cows used to go out with a strap between her horns without the consent of the Chachamim. With what may a woman go out and what may she not go out? A woman may not go out with neither her woolen threads, nor with linen threads, nor with straps that are on her head, nor may she immerse herself in a mikveh with them unless she first loosens them. Nor may she go out with a frontlet, nor with her head bangles, nor when they are not sewn, nor with a forehead, a pad, and a public domain, nor with a golden city, nor with a necklace, nor with nose rings, nor with ring that bears no signet, and no, nor with a needle without an eye. But if she went out, she is not liable for a sin offering. Okay,
Okay,
right?
and it looks like we've got Riley.
Oh, good.
Hey, yes, I'm here. Sorry I'm late. My
No
kids
worries.
took my camera, so I'm gonna be cameraless today.
Oh, okay. All right. So now I can't tell if you're paying attention or not. So now you got to talk more.
Okay.
Okay. Fine. So we're now holding in Shabbos Vav base. We've just done done Chazara on the Mishnah where we list the things that a woman cannot do and that are an Isser Drabanan for her to carry out into the Rosh Hashanah. Now the same thing, the Mishnah Bess explains the same thing with a man. Lo yete ish b'sandal hamisumar. A man, may not go out with a nailed sandal. Um, and this is actually not anything to do with the carrying aspect. This is actually completely unrelated to carrying. It's about a Master Shahaya during I think it was during the time of of the Greeks. Um, there were people hiding in a cave, and they heard noises, and they thought that the enemy was coming, a lot of people were wearing these sandals with nails in them, and they trampled each other, and people died inside the cave because of the panic, and more people died from this apparently than if the enemy had actually come upon them. So at that time, Chachamim said that a person should not go out with a nailed sandal. And the Gemara said, okay, so then make that a problem with going out on full as well, because if this is a sakanas nefashos thing, then why dafka on Shabbos and Yom Tov can you not go out wearing these things? And they said because it was a maaseh that happened on Shabbos, and the only reason because these are days of Isra Malacha, when a lot of people gather together inside the shuls. So they're seeing that in terms of crowd control, it's more of a danger to have shoes like this on days when you got a lot of large crowds of people all gathered together in places like shuls. So therefore, they said that these things should not be worn on Shabbos and Yom Tov. And interesting that it includes Yom Tov because and that shows that it's not to do with carrying, because in Yom Tov you are allowed to carry things into Rosh Hashanah. Okay. Then the Mishnah carries on. Lo v'yachid bizman she'en baraglo maka. Also, a person may not walk into the Rosh Hashanah wearing a single shoe. Um, Now, it's the thing that if a person's wearing a shoe on one foot and not the other, the concern is that people will look at him and laugh, and he'll be embarrassed and he'll take off his shoe and carry it. But that's only when he doesn't have when he doesn't have an obvious wound on one of his feet, because it could work either way. It could be that because he's got a wound, he can't wear a shoe on the other foot, and people see, okay, he's got a wound, that's why he's wearing only one shoe. Or it could be that he's specifically wearing a shoe on the foot that's got the wound, but in order to protect it, but the other foot he's okay to walk barefoot.
By the way, the Shvalmi gives a different reason for not wearing the sandals.
Yeah, tell me.
It says here that it gives another reason for the prohibition against wearing hobnailed sandals is pregnant women often aborted at the sight or sound of hobnailed sandals, either because it reminded them of the calamity that occurred at the cave or because of the ominous appearance and loud squeak. So this latter view, the prohibition is completely unrelated to the incident. Rami explains further that by prohibiting the wearing of these sandals on Shabbos, the Chachamim effectively prevented their use on weekdays also, since most people did not own more than one pair of shoes or sandals. So,
Okay.
that adds anything special.
Okay. It doesn't fully answer. I liked the answer that Kahati gave as to why specifically on Shabbos, because of the danger of people getting together, and you've got some dangerous shoes that can result in a stampede. Yeah, unfortunately, we've seen too recently what happens when you have a stampede, even without those shoes. Anyway, okay. So after we spoke about going out with a single shoe, we're a little bit tefillin. The person's not allowed to go into Rosh Hashanah wearing tefillin because tefillin is not as man for tefillin. You're not supposed to be wearing your tefillin on Shabbos, so therefore it's nonetheless it is derech malbush, so it would only be an issa derabanan, as with all the other things in this Mishnah. And we'll see at a later stage that that if you find a pair of tefillin in the street on Shabbos, in order to because they've got such a high level of kedusha, you're supposed to put them on in order to carry them back into safety, because it's a bizayon to the tefillin to be left outdoors.
Also, there was a mission that talked about putting them and if you found a place that you could hide it away from robbers or something like that.
Correct. So in general, the tefillin are considered muktzah, but if it comes to a situation where they are in danger of getting damaged, or if it's just a bizayon that they're lying out in the open, then Chachamim lift the muktzah restrictions. And in terms of wearing it, then you could put them on even on Shabbos in order to be able to carry them through Rosh Hashanah.
I don't remember which mission that was, but I remember we learned it.
Yes, it was somewhere in Shabbos. A kameah is an amulet, which is supposed to give the wearer protection against illnesses or against ayin hara or whatever else that you wanted to protect against, and a person should not be going out with that on Shabbos. Why? Because it's not exactly a piece of jewelry, and there's a good chance that a person will take it off to show off to somebody else, and it'll wind up carrying in the Rosh Hashanah. But that's only if it's not from a mumche, because if it is from somebody who has written 3 amulets that have proven successful to their wearers, then the person who's wearing it is going to be particular about keeping it on, in which case Chachamim are fine with him keeping it on. V'lo b'shirion, and the person should not go out wearing his battle armor. V'lo b'kasta, or a battle helmet. V'lo b'magapayim, and also with greaves, the battle gloves, those metal gloves that are used for battle. So all of these things are battle dress. They're nonetheless clothing, but a person shouldn't wear them in the Rosh Hashanah on Shabbos. But all of the above are considered clothing or jewelry. It's just that Chachamim said don't do that because you might come to take them off, or for other reasons, as we said.
Is that Hebrew word battle armor? Because they have something completely different here.
The shirion.
Yeah, they call it a man may not go out with a Uh, um, oh my gosh, what happened to it? Um, I don't know. I'll find it again. There was something here. Okay, I'll find it.
in Mishnah base.
Yeah, I don't know
Just
why.
read me the English that you've got
Oh,
there.
with nor with a coat of mail, MIIL.
Okay, coded mail, fine.
Right?
Is there, sorry, which term are they translating as male?
Oh no, don't answer that. Below, let me see. It's one of the express.
What comes after the coded mail?
Below, Chiron. Is that it?
Yes,
Below
yes,
Chiron. Below, Kata. No, Kastamta.
casta.
Right. Is that right?
Yeah, the casta is the helmet.
Hmm. And then the next one would be nor with Greaves.
Yes.
But I don't know why they're using the word male. I don't have
So what? So what's the term that comes after male in the English?
with a coat of mail, and then it says nor with a helmet.
Okay, so they
Male,
translate.
male
So
makes sense.
yeah. So that's the Sherion. That makes sense. I was talking. Male is a form of armor.
Oh, it is.
Well,
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, it's those little circles that are all interlinked together.
oh,
Probably at the time, I assume that the Israelites or Judeans or whatever they're calling themselves at this point didn't have like knights type of suits of armor. It was probably leather with
Mhm.
metal sewed into it or some sort of interlocking metal.
Yeah,
oh.
that makes sense. And it's all male is much lighter to carry than a suit of armor.
Mm. I never heard that. Wow.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay. Um, Mishnah Gimel. Now we move on to the Doraisas for both women and men. Lo teitze isha b'machat hanakuva. A woman may not go out with a needle that has a hole in it. Lo b'tabas sheyes alav alei chotam, and also not with a signet ring. The lo b'kulyar. Kulyar is a kind of a diadem, um, or if you're looking for the term diadem, do you know the term diadem? Because the characters in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows didn't know what Ravenclaw's lost diadem was, but it's a head, a tiara, for the head, which because most women don't wear it, it's considered a masa minatora. It's not considered clothing. A little bit kovelis. So the kovelis is a knot that has it has some perfume in it. So it's that basically you wear it to perfume yourself as you're going out. So it's not, again, that's not considered clothing. It's that's a masa. You're carrying around a little pouch of herbs. Below betzloches shel palyaton, and also not with a little jar, a very small jar of palyaton, which is also um, a liquid perfume, which basically hang around your neck, because all of these are considered a masa. They're not considered jewelry, and therefore the imyatzasa chayevas chatas. If a woman goes out accidentally wearing one of these things, she's chayev chatas, because this is now carrying in the Rosh Hashanah Minat Torah. This is Divrei Rabbi Meir, however. This is his opinion that all of these cases are chayiv chatas. Chachamim puchin bekoveles ubetzloches shel palyaton. So the Chachamim say when it comes to the perfume, those are considered ornamental, and they agree that lechatchila she should not carry these things into the Rosh Hashanah. But in the event that she forgot and did carry it out, they're not chayav chatas, because minatorah actually is considered clothing according to the chachamim, and of course the halacha follows the chachamim. Okay, and then on to men again, and returning to implements of battle. Lo yete ha'ish lo b'saif, and not with a sword, not lo b'keshes, with his bow, lo b'tris. A tris is a shield. Lo b'ala is a mace. Lo b'romach is a spear. All of these are battle implements that are not worn; they are carried. And if he did go out carrying these things, he's chayav katas. Rabbi Eliezer disagrees. He says, Tachshitin hen lo. These things are considered adornments for him, even though he is actually carrying them. They're nonetheless considered tachshitin. What's the basis for this? It says in Tehillim, Chagor char b'chal yadcha gibor hodcha unfortunately, it's not recorded in my in here, so I don't know exactly how to punctuate the words here, but nonetheless, he relies on a pasuk in Tehillim that praises that praises the weapons that a man goes out in, and therefore Rabbi Eliezer says this is it's his glory. If a soldier wants to go out carrying his things, I don't think he is. Riley has posted a link of an image. What is that?
Seems to be someone's idea of what this all might look like.
Very nice. Okay. All right. So back to our discussion here with the Tachshitin. So Chachamim disagree with Rabbi Eliezer and say no. These things are kanai. It's a disgrace that we have to carry weapons because it's a sign of an imperfect world. They quote the very famous psukim in Yeshayahu, which are engraved outside the headquarters of the United Nations. They shall beat their swords into plowshares, into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. No nation shall lift a sword against another nation, and they shall learn war no more. Right? We're talking in the Yemos HaMashiach. And therefore, since weapons are considered a ganai, you're not allowed to carry them into the Rishus Rabbim, and min Torah, a person would be fined for carrying them. Biris Tahor.
It's interesting that they put a Hebrew verse in front of the United Nations from Scripture, from Torah.
Yeah,
they blame Israel for everything, right?
I think they translated it into English. But nonetheless, that is what they have inscribed outside their headquarters. Biris Tahora. So the Biris. So this is now kind of incidental. Now that we're talking about things that a person can wear and can't go out, we also talk about their susceptibility to tumah. So biris is a garter that holds up a stocking. So that in itself, because it is an accessory to another piece of clothing, it's not directly for the person's use. Therefore, it's not susceptible to tumah as a garment. And furthermore, yotzin b'Shabbos Shabbos. It's fine to go out with it on Shabbos. It's holding up another piece of clothing, and it's all part of the setup. Kavalim tameim. However, the kavalim, that's another kind of garter, which has got a chain of silver or other metal, which joins the it holds the legs together. And apparently it was customary in some communities for unmarried women to chain their legs together with these chains in order to take small modest steps. So and therefore these are considered a direct usage of a person, and they are susceptible to clothing tumah. And en yotzin b'hem b'Shabbos, they're not considered clothing because they're not something that you say, yeah, I feel like wearing this today. It's not a beged. It's something that's there to restrain your steps. And in the same way as we saw before, the Havdil, the behemoths, that you're not allowed to tie up one of their legs to restrict their movement and then take them into the Rosh Hashanah. That's the same sort of thing with the women over here, to have these chains that are restricting their movement, and they can't take those out into the Rosh Hashanah on Shabbos. Okay, those are our new Mishnahs for the day. Let's do Chazaras in English. Shabbos Aleph Ches.
Beit Shammai says we may not give hides to the Gentile tanner nor clothing to a Gentile launderer unless there is sufficient time that they may be completed while it is yet day. In all these cases, Beis Hillel permits the act while the sun is still up.
Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel said, the ancestral house of my father was accustomed, so that's from the house,
He's
all
from
the way
Beis
back to
Hillel.
Beis Hillel. Yeah. Was accustomed to give its white clothes to a Gentile launderer no fewer than 3 days before Shabbat. And, however, these Beis Shammai and those Beis Hillel agree that from the beginning, one may load the beam of the olive press on Shabbat Eve while it's still day, so that the oil, here's commentary, so that the oil will continue to be squeezed while it's Shabbat. So too, one may load the circular wine press to accelerate the process of producing wine from grapes.
What may we not roast meat, onions, or eggs unless while there is sufficient time for them to become roasted while it is yet day? We may not place bread in the oven near nightfall, nor a cake upon coals, unless there is sufficient time for its upper surface to form a crust while it is yet day. If Eliezer says sufficient time for its bottom surface to form a crust.
Yeah, Beis Hillel are in agreement because of the gezerah that we don't want to have people increasing the flame if they see that the food's not going to be ready in time. Mm-hmm. Just another comment: we've seen in a couple of places that Rabban Gamliel will make a comment about his ancestors who were machmir on themselves, like Beis Shammai, even though they're dafka Beis Hillel nicks. But he makes a commentary on the chumras of his own family, that they were frequently machmir on themselves, but they're nonetheless paskin like Beis Hillel for the community. Okay, we're in Chala Daled Gimel.
2 calves and a calf of rice or a calf of truma is between. These do not combine, and a thing from which its challah has been separated lies in between. They combine, since it has already become liable to challah.
Sorry, I'm having a hard time finding it. You can continue without me. I'll get there soon.
It's daled base. Which is one kind with like kind? Wheat does not combine with any except with spelt.
You've gone backwards.
Sorry?
We're on Daled, not base.
I did it again. Okay, sorry, Riley.
He gets when we switch between Zeraim, he's got Zeraim and Kahati, which goes from in one direction, then everything else is in art. Sorry. Zeraim is only in Kahati goes in the wrong direction from everything else.
Okay, so Rakhala Daled what?
Daled.
Okay. Daled. A kav of dough made from new grain and a kav of dough from old grain, which are stuck together. Rabbi Ishmael says, let him take challah from the middle, but the sages prohibit. One who's taken challah from dough made of one kav, Rabbi Akiva says it's challah, but the sages say it's not.
If there were 2 calves and challah was taken from each separately, and he afterwards joined them into one piece of dough, Rabbi Akiva exempts, but they could come and declare it liable, and thus its stringency turns into a leniency. Okay. And now we're in
Vav.
We're now in Shvius. Shvius Heites.
Yes. Hey, Tess. Okay. A woman may lend to her neighbor who is suspect of transgressing the laws of the sabbatical year a sifter, a sieve, a hand mill, or an oven, but she may not sift or grind with her. So she can lend her the things, but she can't sit and do the act with her. The wife of a chaver may lend to the wife of an amaretz a sifter and a sieve, and may even sift, grind, or sift flour with her. But once she poured water on the flour, she may not touch it with her, for one may not aid those who commit the transgression.
Because the amaretz is not particular in Tumah and Tara, and so as soon as the water hits it, then now it becomes susceptible, and she's got to excuse herself and say, I can't carry on over here.
And all these things were only allowed in the interests of peace. So people aren't getting offended and upset with each other.
Yep.
They may offer encouragement to Gentiles during the sabbatical year, but not to Jews. Encouragement?
In other words, if the Gentiles are farming Eretz Yisrael during the Shemitah, that's fine. They don't have the mitzvah. So you can say, hey, how's it going? I hope you have a great crop.
In the interest of peace, one may also offer greetings to Gentiles. That's nice. Just stam, like that's...
Yes.
Otherwise, it would be usher.
Yeah, well, that does kind of sound like it, doesn't it? Let's just see what it says.
But for Darkei Shalom, it's
I don't know. It's interesting. There may have been some. It may have been kind of awkward. Maybe it's like referring even to goyim who are like conquerors and kind of feeling you don't want to encourage them to be there, but you want to keep the peace with the occupiers, and so
yeah. No, I hear that.
There are 3 territories in regard to the 7th year. All that which the ascendants from Babylon occupied of Eretz Israel as far as the Kizev, one may not be eaten or cultivated. And all that the ascendants from Egypt occupied from Kizev as far as the river and until Amana may be eaten but not cultivated. From the river and Amana inward it may be eaten and cultivated. It should be base.
Yeah, you got base there, Riley.
Oh, yep, sorry. In Syria, one may perform work on produce that has been detached, but not on produce attached to the soil. They may thresh, winnow, and shred the grapes, or make the grain into sheaves. But they may not harvest the crops, nor cut the grapes, nor harvest the olives. Rabbi Akiva said this principle: the kind of work that is permitted in Eretz Israel may also be done in Syria. It's a sort of intermediate area.
Okay, we are in Para.
Para Yud Beis Zion.
One who is Tahu Rachatas water and whose hands contracted Tuma, his body is Tameh. And he contaminates his fellow, and as his fellow contaminates his fellow, even if they are to 100.
Because again, that's the liquid. That's the liquid keeping the tumah fresh.
Okay, a flask of chatas waters, whose outer part has become unclean, its inner part also becomes unclean, and it conveys tuma to another flask, and the other to another, even if there are 100. A bell and a clapper are regarded as connected. In the case of a spindle stick used for coarse material.
The significance of them being connected is if you sprinkle one of them with the mechatas, then the other one becomes tahor too.
Okay, cool. In the case of a spindle stick used for coarse material, one should not sprinkle on its stick or ring. But if he sprinkled on one, both are regarded as having been sprinkled upon. So it's better not to do it that way, whatever that is. A spindle stick used for flax, they are regarded as connected. A spindle stick, I don't know. I'd have to see what a spindle stick is exactly, but I guess there's multiple parts to this thing.
Yeah.
So,
it's used in the weaving process. There's a long rod and parts attached on either end, and I think they're saying you shouldn't sprinkle on the 2 ends. You should be sprinkling on the middle piece.
but b'diavad it's okay.
Yeah.
If a leather cover of a crib is fastened to its knobs, both are regarded as connected. The base is not regarded as connected either in respect to Tuma or Torah.
Right. So the connection, we actually sometimes do have a split between things that are connected. That they might be connected for tuma, but not for tara. So if they become tame on one part, then the whole thing becomes tame. But in terms of sprinkling, they have to both be sprinkled independently. You can't just sprinkle one and transmit it to the other.
Mhm. Okay. All drilled handles of utensils are regarded as connected. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri says also those that are wedged into holes in the utensils. So I guess it's whether it's built that way or just out of convenience. Stuck in, you've got a stick stuck into the thing.
Yeah, the handles that are stuck into the socket.
Whether it's a natural socket or a man-made socket.
Well, they're all man-made, I would expect.
Well, I was making a differentiation. All drilled handles of utensils, like a drilled hole. And Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri says also those that are just wedged into holes in the utensils.
So Kahati gives an example of the handle of a spear, which goes into the metal part. Okay, this is also considered a chibur, but the Tanakama says that something that's wedged in like that is not considered a chibur for hazah, and the halacha is like the Tanakama. So what are the things that are considered a chibur according to the Tanakama? Is all the others like knives. Knives have a specific hole made for them, and the metal
like what goes into what? The spear goes into the spearhead.
So the knife, the metal is inserted into the wooden handle.
Yeah.
So it looks like what's the difference of what's inserted into what?
Right. The drilled handles. That's the.
Right. So you've got a drilled handle. So the metal of the blade gets inserted into the handle. So that's considered a chibur. But there's machlokes about things where the metal is hollow and you shove the wooden handle into that.
Okay, that works. That makes sense.
Okay. The saddle baskets and the tarbel bed and the horn of a coffin and the horns of travelers and the ring of keys and the basting of the launderers and a garment that is stitched with chalayim are considered a connection for tuma, but not considered a connection for sprinkling.
Okay, there we go. So that's one of our examples of things that we're machmir when it comes to tuma, but when it comes to tara, we're also machmir.
Where are we going after this? After para?
After para is taros.
Taros, okay.
Okay. Zevachim Yud Gimel Zayin.
If one performed malika on a bird within the temple and offered it up outside, he is liable. But if one performed malika on it outside the temple and offered it up outside, he is not liable. If one slaughtered a bird,
so that by the way is an important point, is that malika has to be done inside the mikdash on a bird, and
right.
and malika inside the temple is like shchita outside. Okay, but if you do it outside, you've rendered it into a treifa.
Right.
Or a nevela even, and if you do a shchita on a bird inside, it's also possible. So that's the interesting thing over here, is that in order to be chayav on sacrificing an animal outside the temple, it has to have been shechted properly, which means that you have to do malika inside or shchita outside in order to be chayav on it. But if you did malika on the bird outside, then you didn't shecht it properly because you turned it into an avela.
If one slaughtered a burnt offering within the temple and offered it up outside, he is not liable. But if he offered it outside the temple and offered it up outside he is liable. It follows that the method which he renders to fit within the temple exempts it from liability outside it, and when the method renders it when the method renders it fit outside the temple, exempts it within. Rabbi Shimon says anything that which renders one liable when performed outside also renders one liable when this counterpart was performed within and the parts were later offered up outside, except for one who slaughters within and offers up outside.
Okay. With regard to a sin offering, where one collected its blood in one cup, if he first placed its blood on the altar outside the courtyard and then placed the remaining blood on the altar inside the courtyard, or if he first placed his blood on the altar inside the courtyard and then placed the remaining blood on the altar outside the courtyard, in both cases he's liable for placing the blood outside of the courtyard, as the blood in its entirety is fit to be placed on the altar inside the courtyard. If one collected its blood in 2 cups and placed the blood from both of them on the altar inside the courtyard, he is exempt, as he has acted appropriately. If he placed the blood from both of them on the altar outside the courtyard, he's liable, as both are fit to be placed inside. If he first placed the blood from one cup inside and then placed the blood from the other cup outside, he is exempt. I've got a little explanation here. By using the blood of the first cup to perform the mitzvah of placing the blood on the altar, he did it right with the inside. He thereby rendered the blood in the second cup unfit to be placed on the altar. Therefore, there is no liability for placing it on the altar outside.
Right. Very good.
If he first placed the blood from one cup outside and then placed the blood from the other cup inside, he's liable for the external placement of the blood that was fit to be placed inside in the first place. And the internal placement atones for the transgression for which the sin offering was brought. So he's fixed up his initial sin, but now he's got another problem.
That's right.
So what does this matter comparable? It's comparable to a case where one separated an animal for his sin offering and it was lost. And he separated another animal in its place. This is, I don't have the Hebrew here. This is Tamura?
No, it's not. That's not a tamura. It's a replacement. It's simply a replacement animal.
Oh, simply a replacement.
He thought his first animal was lost, and he brought another one in its place, and then the original one turned up again.
In that case, both of them stand before him, and he must sacrifice one as his sin offering. If he slaughtered both of them inside the courtyard, he is exempt. If he slaughtered both of them outside the courtyard, he is liable, as each was fit to be slaughtered in the courtyard. If he first slaughtered one inside and then the other one outside, he's exempt for slaughtering the second, as he's already fulfilled his obligation with the first. If he first slaughtered one outside and then one inside, he's liable for the external, but the internal one atones for his initial transgression that he was dealing with in the first place. So this is, the two animals are like the two cups.
It's a great analogy between the two. Yeah.
Just as placing the blood of the first animal exempts one who consumes its meat from liability for misuse, so too it exempts one who consumes the meat of its counterpart. Oh, sorry, the Mishna adds. That's kind of a full stop there.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Mishna goes on and says, in the case where one slaughtered both inside the courtyard, just as placing the blood of the first animal exempts one who consumes its meat from liability for misuse of consecrated property, so too it exempts one who consumes the meat of its counterpart, the second animal, from liability.
Okay.
All right.
Aleph.
Okay. A katas cow which one burned outside its pit, and similarly a he-goat that is sent to Asal, one which one offered up outside, one is not liable. The pasuk says he has not brought it to the entrance of the temple of meeting. Whatever is not fit to be brought to the entrance of the tent of meeting, one is not liable on its account.
Right. So those two things, the Sir Mishtalech and the Paraduma, are not brought in the Mizbech, and therefore you wouldn't be liable for Shchutei Chutz for doing that. You would, however, probably when it comes to Paraduma, you probably would get lynched by the remaining Jews around you, because Paradumas are not very common, and if you mess up one of those, people aren't going to be happy. Okay, Nadarim Gimel Yud.
Um, Riley, you want to do it or?
Sure. Just Gimel Yud. I'm there. Let's see. Yud. There we go. One who takes a vow that deriving benefit from those who rest on Shabbos is forbidden to him is prohibited from deriving benefit from a Jew. And he is also prohibited from deriving benefit from Samaritans, Kushim, because they are also Sabbath observers. So just Bichlal, like you don't have to go and like, hey, are you from? And then I can derive
Yes,
benefit
exactly.
from you.
Yeah.
One who takes a vow that deriving benefit from those who eat garlic on Shabbos is forbidden to him, is prohibited from deriving benefit from any Jew, and he's also prohibited from benefiting from Samaritans. Eating garlic?
Yes,
Okay.
garlic. It's very customary for Jews to have garlic on Shabbos. Apparently, it increases virility.
Ah,
Yeah, I think that was what they said. Let me see. Yeah, increases virility.
all right.
We actually do have garlic on
That like
Shabbos.
roasted garlic is good.
Yes, that's exactly. We've developed a minhag of doing this. My daughter introduced us to this. That it works out really well. We roast garlic in the oven erev Shabbos and put it on our challah at the Shabbos Suda. It's
Yeah.
delicious.
So you can say you got it from here.
Yeah, we can say we got it from here. Exactly.
So that's the same thing as having garlic bread. It is. That's what it is.
Well, it's with actual garlic, not just like with the butter that's got garlic mixed into it.
Right, right. I haven't seen that here. Butter with garlic.
We roast them in oil. You roast them in oil, and then the oil also gets the flavor of the garlic.
You mix it with the butter then?
No, we don't put it into butter at all. We just take you can drop bits of the garlic oil onto the bread as well, and it also tastes really nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess that was a custom of Jews and Samaritans to dafka have garlic. However, if one takes a vow that deriving benefit from those who ascend to Yerushalayim is forbidden to him, he is prohibited from deriving benefit from any Jew, but he is permitted to benefit from a Samaritan because they don't go up to Yerushalayim. They have their own different har.
That's right. They go to Har Grizim.
Yeah. Actually, by the way, you wouldn't mix it with butter because you're having fleishik on Friday night. So
Exactly.
right.
And we wouldn't mix it with margarine because we don't have margarine in our house.
I know it. My son-in-law also, he says, never get margarine. It's not allowed in the house. It's not allowed. You know, he says you can't.
We had Dr. Gundel once said to us, "You should melt your credit card over your bread rather than put margarine on it."
They say it's so bad for you. I don't,
Yeah.
Okay, if one says, Konam, what I benefit from the descendants of Noach, he is permitted to benefit from Jews, but forbidden to benefit from Gentiles. Konam, what benefit for the progeny of Abraham, he is forbidden to benefit from Jews, but is permitted to benefit from Gentiles. Konam, when I benefit from Jews, he must buy for more and sell for less. And Konam, what Jews benefit from me, he must buy for less and sell for more if they listen to him. Konam. Listen to him. Konam, what I benefit, that's not it, no. Yeah, that's
Yeah, there was a period in between.
right.
Yeah.
When I benefit from them and they from me, he may benefit Gentiles. If one says, Konam, when I benefit from the uncircumcised, he's permitted to benefit from uncircumcised Jews, but forbidden to benefit from circumcised Gentiles. Konam, when I benefit from the circumcised, he is forbidden to benefit from uncircumcised Jews, but is permitted to benefit from circumcised Gentiles, for the term all is used only as a general name for Gentiles, as it is said, for all the nations are uncircumcised, and the whole house of Israel are uncircumcised in my heart. And it says, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be, and it says, let the daughters of the Philistines rejoice, let the daughters of the uncircumcised be jubilant. Elazar ben Azariah says, detestable is the foreskin, for it is with the wicked are disparaged, as it is said, for all the nations are uncircumcised. Rabbi Yisrael says, great is circumcision, for concerning it 13 covenants were made. And Rabbi Yossi says, great is circumcision, from which overrides the strict Shabbos. Rabbi Yoshe ben Korkach says, it is great is circumcision, for concerning it even Moshe, the righteous one, was not spared for 1 hour. Reb Nechemya says, great is circumcision, which overrides Nagayim. Rebbe says, great is circumcision, for despite all the precepts which our forefathers Avram fulfilled, he was not called complete until he circumcised themselves, as it says, walk before me and be perfect. Another thing, greater circumcision, if not for it for the Holy One, blessed is He, would not have created His world, as it says. So says Hashem, if not for my covenant day and night, the laws of heaven and earth I would not have put in place.
Okay, so after that little digression into the disgrace of the foreskin and the merit of the bris milah, let's return to Nadarim. Daled Aleph.
Okay. The difference between one for whom benefit from another is forbidden by a vow, and one for whom benefit from his food is forbidden by a vow. So Hanam Mechavero versus from food concerns only setting foot on the other person's property and borrowing from that person utensils that one does not use in preparation of food, but for other purposes. These two benefits are forbidden to the former, but permitted to the latter. Forbidden to the person who's forbidden to his food, but
yeah, if obviously any benefit is more inclusive than just food.
Yeah. Therefore, with regard to one for whom benefit from another's food is forbidden by vow, that person may not lend him utensils used in the preparation of food. For example, a sieve or a strainer or a millstone or an oven. However, he may lend him a garment or a finger ring or a cloak or nose rings, as these are not used in the preparation of food. So you say, I'm not going to get this guy's food, you could do other things, borrow his lawnmower, whatever. However, he may not lend them to one for whom benefit from him is forbidden by vow. And with regard to any item that one does not use in the preparation of food, in a place where one rents that item of that kind, the item is forbidden. So
Right,
then my commentary says, meaning one for whom benefit from another is forbidden by vows, prohibited from borrowing this type of an item from one who vowed and imposed the prohibition. This is because one can use that money saved by borrowing the item rather than renting it to purchase food.
Right. Okay. Shkoyach, everyone.
I went to Master Moyle what he did with the foreskin, and he said he would bury them in his backyard. I don't know if
That's right. He buries them in his backyard.
Yeah, I don't know if that's typical.
That sounds. I hope the forensics experts go digging around there.
Oh gosh.
Okay.
Have a great day. Have a great day.
You too.
You too.
Cheers.
Bye.